Audrey Hepburn, the personification of grace, elegance, charm, and talent, died at her home in Switzerland today. She was 63 years old.
Audrey Hepburn was an American movie icon.
Won't you join me?
With an Academy Award and 10 Golden Globe nominations, she was the epitome of style and elegance that lit up the screen for more than 3 decades.
I don't want my eyebrows up or down. I want them right where they are.
Everybody was obsessed with her.
She's timeless. She was a class act to the end.
Audrey was also an accomplished ballet dancer, model, and humanitarian.
She had a huge heart.
But behind her girl-next-door image, there was a sadness.
Audrey really never enjoyed being a movie star.
She was very close to suicide.
And times of near-fatal illnesses.
I think probably she was anorexic. She was really thin.
And no one could have predicted the way she died.
Audrey died of pseudomyxoma peritonei, a very rare form of abdominal cancer which only 1.5 million people contract. She also died just 3 months after her diagnosis at only 63 years of age. So I want to know, how did this seemingly healthy Hollywood icon succumb to such a rare form of cancer? And why did it kill her at such an alarming rate?
World-renowned medical examiner and forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Hunter has conducted thousands of autopsies. Collaborating closely with law enforcement and other forensic specialists, his pivotal role in investigating suspicious and challenging cases has revealed the truth behind mysterious deaths for over 20 years.
Audrey Hepburn died of pseudomyxoma peritonei, a rare form of cancer of the abdomen at the age of just 63. But accounts state Audrey was being treated by several experts and that she was hopeful about becoming cancer-free. Using reports and first-hand accounts, I want to look back in forensic detail at Audrey's history and lifestyle to examine how she contracted this rare cancer and why she died so quickly.
September 1992, Somalia, Africa, 4 months before her death. Audrey is on a UNICEF mission to draw the world's attention to the famine in war-torn Somalia.
Audrey was very much affected by the suffering, especially of children, and it was the main reason why she wanted to do something for UNICEF. She had a huge heart.
Working with the refugees was the driving force in her life. She felt she was doing something important. She was changing situations and helping these poor little souls.
The part of loving a child comes easy. I usually go with a rather heavy heart because I know what I'm going to see, yet I must.
Accompanying Audrey on the trip is boyfriend of 13 years, Dutch actor Robert Wolders.
What a blessing he is, because I could never do it alone.
She said, if I go to difficult places, I need a shoulder to lean on.
He absolutely adored her. He was a great companion. I think they loved each other very much.
I think her relationship with Robert was a very, very happy one.
Midway through the flight home, Audrey starts to feel unwell and complains to Robert of having stomach pains and indigestion. She dismisses it as something she's picked up in Africa, which has happened to her many times before.
She wasn't the complaining person. She always wanted to know how everybody else was, but about herself, she always pushed it off. All she thought, I picked up a little bug in Africa and wasn't feeling well.
But as the journey progresses, so does Audrey's pain. She decides to take painkillers, but nothing seems to be working.
The abdominal pain Audrey was experiencing on the flight could be due to a bug, but it could also have been a warning sign of the abdominal cancer. Unlike other cancers, pseudomyxoma peritonei doesn't spread through the bloodstream or lymphatic system, but stays within the abdominal cavity as cancerous cells grow. The cancer eventually fills the abdominal cavity, strangling the intestines and pressing on surrounding organs, causing severe pain. To further complicate matters, These rare types of cancer can vary in aggressiveness from patient to patient, but also crucially can sometimes take a very long time to develop to the point where symptoms are recognized. I need to look back at Audrey's detailed medical history to uncover when and how her cancer started and why she didn't survive it.
Audrey Hepburn was born in Brussels, Belgium, on May 4th, 1929, to Joseph Rustin Hepburn, a British-Austrian financier, and Baroness Ella van Heemstra, a Dutch aristocrat.
Her mother was a very stern, strict, forbidding lady. There's no question that she loved Audrey, but she could never show it.
When Audrey was only 6, her father left her and her mother, abandoning the family home.
Her father had almost rejected her, really, so there was a sadness.
On the outbreak of World War II, Audrey's mother moved with 10-year-old Audrey to the Netherlands, believing the country would remain neutral and be safe from invasion. It was to prove a terrible decision when on May 10, 1940, Hitler's forces marched into the country.
During the Second World War, she had had a terrible, terrible time when the Nazis came in. Some of her family were killed. She had grown up in this kind of atmosphere during the war.
Despite the traumas, Audrey found an escape in her love of ballet. And in 1948, she moved to London to pursue her passion, accepting a scholarship with the Ballet Rambert Company.
Audrey Hepburn was born with ballet shoes on. That was a very important part of her life.
But her dreams of becoming a prima ballerina were dashed. At 5'7", she was too tall, so instead turned to acting. Audrey's big break came after a chance encounter in 1951 at the Hôtel de Paris in Monaco.
Audrey was spotted in a hotel lobby by the author who wrote Gigi, who figured that's the one who would epitomize my Gigi.
Within months, she was playing the title role on Broadway.
I was astounded by this gorgeous creature. She had this lovely, elfin-like quality, even though she was tall and lean.
The play received rave reviews.
Wow, that sure brought her stardom, and it was a well-deserved stardom.
Everything took off for her.
Just 2 years later, Audrey landed her first starring film role in Roman Holiday with actor Gregory Peck.
You have my permission to withdraw.
Thank you very much.
The role earned her an Oscar.
I'm truly, truly grateful and terribly happy.
She became this huge star, and every young girl wanted to be like Audrey Hepburn.
I always thought she had a natural elegance to her.
She became one of Hollywood's leading ladies in the 1950s and 60s, with iconic roles in My Fair Lady and Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Audrey suddenly became a bona fide top movie star. She was what used to be called a complete class act.
The camera loved her, of course, and she knew that, and she took advantage of that.
Her elegance, svelte figure, and gamine looks turned her into an icon of style, a role that lasted a lifetime.
Audrey became the icon she was because of everything about her.
Although I believe the abdominal pain Audrey was experiencing following her trip to Somalia was likely due to her cancer, I wonder if she also contracted any diseases that could have lowered her immunity, making her ability to cope with the cancer worse. Africa is a high-risk continent for travelers, with possible exposure to a variety of pathogens, including bacteria and parasites, which can lead to serious infections. Malaria, dengue fever, meningitis, cholera, typhoid, and dysentery are all prevalent and would have caused havoc in her already embattled body.
Early October 1992, Tolochenaz, Switzerland, 3.5 months before her death. Audrey is back at home and seeks medical advice for the abdominal pain she's been experiencing. Doctors assume Audrey has picked up a nasty stomach bug in Somalia and prescribe a course of very powerful antibiotics called metronidazole.
Metronidazole works by disrupting the DNA of microbial cells. It's a broad-spectrum antibiotic, meaning it is effective against a range of infections.
October 1992. 5 days later. Audrey still feeling unwell and in extreme pain. She's been taking the antibiotics prescribed by the doctor, but suffers violent reactions to the drug. Rather than improving her condition, it seems to be worsening.
Antibiotics start to work on an infection straight away, and the patient would normally start to feel better after a few days. But in Audrey's case, it's clear that wasn't happening. She also developed other symptoms, including nausea and vomiting, which can be a side effect of the drug. It's clear that what Audrey was suffering from was no simple infection. But there's something else in Audrey's past that I need to investigate. Something that's a known trigger for diseases like cancer, and that's smoking.
In 1961, Audrey was in New York, having filmed her signature role as Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
You have a special invitation to attend Audrey Hepburn's open house on the wildest night New York ever knew.
She was in a photo shoot to promote the movie wearing her iconic little black dress designed by Givenchy, who would become her close friend. She was rarely seen without a cigarette in her film roles and would smoke to calm her nerves and anxiety.
Audrey really never enjoyed being a movie star. She didn't really like it, didn't like the attention. She was shy, she was rather melancholy.
Being an actor, it's a very tense profession. You have to pull up the emotions, then you have to put them back down. It's very tough.
Audrey Hepburn, I'm sorry to relate, was a chain smoker. She was insecure. She didn't believe that her talent was anything remarkable, coupled with the fact that she was an extremely anxious woman.
Audrey's smoking began at the age of 15, and she smoked up to 60 cigarettes a day for almost 5 decades.
This suggests that maybe this was an unhealthy coping mechanism. Smoking allows people to have that habitual self-soothing thing of having to stop, to take those deep breaths and deal with the anxiety that you have.
Smokers believe that smoking relieves their anxiety, but in fact, smoking increases anxiety and tension. Nicotine creates an immediate sense of relaxation, but this feeling is temporary and soon gives way to withdrawal symptoms and increased cravings. Not only does smoking not relieve anxiety, it also immediately introduces hundreds of dangerous chemicals into the bloodstream. These mutate DNA, which in turn cause normal cells to turn into cancer cells. These cancer cells will normally occur in the lungs first, but can be found in any organ in the body. Smoking can increase your chances of developing cancer by as much as 75%. As Audrey smoked heavily for almost 5 decades, her risk factor for developing cancer due to smoking was clearly high. There are often underlying reasons why people smoke. According to accounts, even at the peak of her fame, Audrey was suffering from anxiety and depression.
Audrey suffered from periods of dark, dreadful depression throughout her life. She was a very melancholy person, and at least once she was very close to suicide.
Depression and anxiety can contribute to the development and progression of some types of cancer. Your body's immune system, when functioning normally, is constantly fighting off infections, but it also checks for the development of abnormal cells which can turn into tumors. Anxiety and depression have been found to suppress the immune system and have also been found to create inflammatory changes in the body. There is emerging evidence that this inflammation is involved in cancer pathogenesis, so I need to investigate Audrey's battles with depression further.
Audrey's issues with anxiety and depression began at an early age when her father left home. She was only 6 years old.
When Audrey's father left, abandoned the family, Audrey was grief-stricken by his absence.
If someone who's so significant to you can leave, you feel a sense of insecurity and uncertainty. And this is where we kind of see it beginning in Audrey's life, this kind of feeling of anxiety that actually we see kind of happening throughout.
I think she had a difficult life underneath.
By 1942, Audrey was living in Nazi-occupied Holland with her mother.
She was a young teenager in Europe during World War II, and that was a tough thing to be.
She was only 13 and became a star dancer performing in blacked-out silent ballet shows to raise money secretly for the Dutch resistance.
Audrey risked her life to help soldiers and civilians in the Dutch underground.
She was as active as she could be in the resistance, a very dangerous thing to have done.
She brought messages to people, collected money.
If you were a member of the resistance and they found out, you were finished.
I did give performances to collect money for the underground, which always needed money.
And what about the Germans? What did they do about it?
They didn't know about it.
Audrey, I knew that she had suffered a lot in the war.
Audrey was haunted by the war.
Her uncle, a judge, was imprisoned and murdered at the hands of Adolf Hitler's soldiers. Audrey also witnessed trainloads of Dutch nationals being sent to their deaths during the Holocaust.
Profound traumas, like the one experienced by Audrey, don't stay in childhood. You know, they kind of follow you throughout life. And we know that Audrey struggled with depression. This is very likely to have been a product of childhood experiences.
It's clear that Audrey was traumatized by the events she experienced during the war as a child. But I can see something else in her adult life that could have added to her deep distress.
In September 1954, Audrey married fellow actor Mel Ferrer. They met at a cocktail party hosted by her Roman holiday co-star Gregory Peck, and were married just 8 months later.
Audrey wanted to be a good wife and certainly a mother. She always wanted children.
Audrey wanted to have children more than anything. She was constantly talking about wanting to get pregnant. She was always very disappointed when she didn't.
Within 5 months of their marriage, and while preparing to work together on War and Peace, Audrey became pregnant. But only weeks after learning the happy news, Audrey miscarried.
It really affected her. It traumatized her.
There's almost a sense of your body letting you down, of not being able to trust in the future. When a pregnancy happens, the relationship, not only with the pregnancy, but with the potential child, happens right away, right? So you don't stop yourself from dreaming about who this child is going to be, the fact that your life's going to change. And when that's taken away from you, you're blindsided.
In 1959, Audrey was filming The Unforgiven when she fell off a horse and broke her back. She was pregnant at the time and suffered her second miscarriage.
Pregnancy was very difficult for Audrey Hepburn. She was not one of these who could just become happily pregnant.
But it proved third time lucky for Audrey when her son Sean was born in July 1960.
I can't leave my young son any longer. I must rush back.
How is he?
He's wonderful, thank you.
Audrey's marriage to Mel Ferrer ended after 14 years. Within a year, she married Andrea Dotti, an Italian psychiatrist. 10 years after her first child, she had a second son, Luca.
With her second child, she spent most of her pregnancy in bed. So having children was a very big deal, and consequently, her children meant a great deal to her.
She said that the thrill of her life was to have borne these two sons. She was a very good mother and very close to her sons.
I sort of stopped wanting to travel around because it did mean leaving my sons. So I stayed home to enjoy them. You know, I would have hated to make movies all around the world and never to have known my sons.
Audrey and Andrea Dotti tried for another child, but in 1974 she suffered her fourth miscarriage. Their marriage ended 8 years later.
It's clear that Audrey's difficulties having children and her multiple miscarriages caused her a great deal of anxiety and depression. There is also evidence to suggest that women who suffer multiple miscarriages have a twofold increased risk of developing ovarian cancer. What is interesting is that Audrey's rare abdominal cancer, pseudomyxoma peritoni, can take a long time to develop, and in some cases is thought to originate in the ovaries. So I can't discount Audrey's multiple miscarriages as playing a role in her death.
But Dr. Hunter has discovered Audrey's childhood experiences led to a deadly obsession.